Hey, g'day guys, Dougie here again. Yeah, did a little video. This time we're back in the shed. Just got another engine to pull down, just for one of the bros. Yeah, FD block, came with a car that he bought. And yeah, I went over to his place a few weeks ago because he thought it was sort of leaking water, couldn't get it started. So just went over, had a look for him, and definitely was leaking a lot of coolant into the motor. And yeah, we cranked it over, couldn't get it started, but did a compression test. I think the front was pretty good, or one of the housings was pretty good, like over 100 on all chambers psi, and then the other one was uneven and quite low in terms of comp. So anyway, so he dropped it off to me last week. It's been sitting on my garage floor just down here, and yeah, so let's just take a look at it, and yeah, we're just gonna pull it down and give it a bit of a diagnosis, and yeah, we'll go from there. Righty, so yeah, here it is, just the FD block. See, there's quite a bit of rust and sort of stuff coming out of the ports. Still got the strap on it from lifting it out. So quite interesting. Just a couple of things I noticed is that just looking at the rear plate, you can see the motor has been studded. It's all been studded down the hot side, so it looks like someone spent a bit of money on this block. One thing I do notice straight away though is that someone's used a lot of orange goop on the hot side of the engine, so right through. So that's not a good sign. I don't like orange goop no matter what, really, to be honest, but someone's gooped up the hot side of the motor hard out. But you know, you can't see any of the goop running through the rest of the engine apart from where it should go, where the legs are down the bottom here. So that tells me that possibly, you know, this motor could have been put together with shrunken housings, and they've tried to counter that a bit by gooping up all this side. That could be why it's leaking or something. It's even goop around the dowel O-rings. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. This is going to be a real kinder surprise, I think, this engine. Just get down on the ground and have a look in the ports. Very rusty in there, a lot of water has gotten in there, obviously. This one not so bad. The housings don't look too bad. The housings could be in good shape. The intake ports, so we have Bridgeport primaries there, Bridgeport secondaries there. Looks like no work's been done to the runners. There's still the cast, but we've just got a Bridgeport there. Let's just see if we can turn it over. Oh shit. That's solid, that doesn't want to turn. Interesting, I wonder if it's rusted solid since I saw it. Let's get a socket on it and see if we can turn it over. Let's see if we can turn it over. It feels solid if I try and move it by the flywheel. Oh man, that's solid. That's not turning at all. No, I'm just I'm tightening the nut there. It's this motor's locked solid. Interesting, it wasn't like that a few weeks ago. Okay. Alright, I think this engine's going to be a real kinder surprise, to be honest. A real special one, because it's on one side it looks like there's some good work done to it, obviously with the studding and housing. Chrome on the inside looks okay. You know, someone's Bridgeported it, but then it's got all that orange goop on the hot side, you know, which is just not a good look at all. And then obviously it's solid, it's locked solid. So I'd say, you know, when I went to see the bro a few weeks ago, it cranked over sweet. It was cranking over fine. There was a lot of water coming out of it. But then I think it's obviously just been sitting, and it looks like it's rusted solid, I'd say. I don't know anyway. So we'll get the water pump and the flywheel and stuff off, the clutch off and that, and then yeah, I'll get it up on the engine stand, and we'll just pull it down and just have a look what's inside. Let's go. I think Rumble's just arrived, so he's here to help. Hey Rumble. Rumble, is your tail waggy? Hey, you've assumed the position. You ready? You ready to help? Are you ready to help? Yes. Good boy. Okay, let's go. Let's get this done. Alrighty, I just noticed something else that's a little bit scary. These clutch bolts are like not high tensile bolts. So they're the type of bolts that you use for the stationary gears pretty much anyway. Let's have a look. Yeah. And yeah. In my opinion, that's really asking for trouble. Not good at all. It's probably good that this thing never started, to be honest. And this wasn't the bro that done this. This is you know, how he got the car. What do you reckon, Bumble Dog? Looks like a new clutch. Different grade bolts on the flywheel as well, so yeah, 6, 8. Yeah, flywheel looks new as well, but yeah, not ideal at all. Alrighty, let's get it up on the stand. Woohoo! Oh, looking a bit milky. Ah. Alrighty, so we've got a bunch of crud in the pickup. See, I don't actually think that's silicone. I think that's an aftermarket water seal that's pinched. Definitely seen that before. So I look closely at this. I think there's a bit of, that's the sealant from the legs, but then I think like up here, up here, I think that might be an aftermarket water seal. But the oil's pretty nasty. The oil's really nasty. But yeah, oil pump chain looks pretty loose. All right. Yeah, I don't think that's silicone. I think that's an aftermarket water seal. but we'll find out when we open it. So after getting the sump off, the oil in there looks pretty nasty, very dirty. I can't see any metal or feel any metal in there though, so that's a good sign in terms of bearings and stuff. I can see more red silicone running around through the bottom, but I actually think it's an aftermarket water seals have been used. I don't think it's silicone. I think it's those red aftermarket water seals, and I think they've pinched through the plates in the housings, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it is, but we'll know more once we get it pulled down. Yeah, so let's get the oil pickup off and then give it a bit of a wipe down, and just yeah, get the flywheel off, and then the front cover and all that sort of stuff, and then start unstacking it. Hey my buddy, hey my baby, good boy. Hi. Oh, thanks buddy, you're here to help, you're here to help. New bearings. Interesting. Yeah, that was loose. Crazy. Looks pretty new. Whoa, that's really sloppy. Crazy. Gotta love this water pump housing gasket. Crikey. That's a shocker. Alright, let's undo this oil pump. Oil pump looks pretty new. It's good. Mismatching bolts on the front stack. Not that that really matters. Kiwi. There's a nasty pitting there. That's really rough. I bet you this is toast. Oh yeah. Torrington bearings toasted. It might be why it was jamming. Yeah, that's obviously had no end float or something like that. It is like bound up. Torrington bearing and running plate is toast. Looks like it maybe had no end play or something like that. Oh yeah, shit. Damn. Some good grooves in there. She buggered. Try this bolt back in here. Alrighty, so some fairly major damage to the front stack there. Yeah, let's flip it up and get it unstacked. Alrighty, so I am going to just take the rear stationary gear out first, and there, yeah, start undoing all these bolts for the studs. Well, there's definitely a new bearing. Positive, I suppose. Yeah, there you go. Pinched aftermarket water seals. Oh, rusty. Whoa. It's got a tidy little Bridgeport. Yeah, look at those pinch seals. And that plate looks like in good nick. Alrighty, the rear plate came off nice and easy, which is awesome because I've had some studded motors that, oh my gosh, they're so tight, and it's like literally taken half a day just to get like the rear plate off, so pretty stoked with that. First thing I noticed straight away is the pinched aftermarket water seals. Pinched on the inners and pinched on the outers as well, so it's actually made a real mess. Yeah, but other than that, the rear plate does look like it's in good condition from initial glance, but just, yeah, let's just check this out. So obviously I've been leaking a bit of water for a while. All the side seals are stuck. You can see like all this pinching here of the aftermarket seal. So, and look, I've fallen for this as well. We bought a motor once for a friend. I used these types of seals for the first time. It did the same thing, it pinched. So after that, never again. Always use Mazda personally. But yeah, excess silicone there. But yeah, bit of a mess. Yeah, these are all pretty loose, so that's good. So they'll come out no problems. And then if we go over to the plate here, so if I look at the rear plate, there's like no wear on that, like if anything. But you can also see where the inner has pinched too. It's like a Viton O-ring. Yeah, nice little angle cut Bridgeport, no finishing done on it. Looks like probably a CNC bridge, I'd say, CNC Bridgeport, with no hand finishing on it. But yeah, it's good. There's like plenty of meat still on the wall there. Sometimes they go really thin there and it breaks. But yeah, okay, let's get these studs out, get the dowels out, and just get the rest of it pulled down. Oh, they're tight. Holy fuck. They're so tight, it's pulled the whole housing off. A piece for that one. New rotor bearing by the looks, good. Alrighty, center plate. Not much wear, it's very good. It's a bit of an ugly port, that one. Very thin on the wall there, but still looks alright. No, it's alright. Definitely not as nice as the other port. I'll try to get these dowels out and then pull the center plate off. That one came out, oh, that's nice and easy. That one came out easy. Obviously a lot of water in this one. That rotor's really rusty. Yeah. Let's have a look at the crank. Oh yeah. Stuck. Crazy. Alrighty. Get this housing off. Stuck. Cool. And there's the red light. Cool. Nice exhaust bolts. Different port. So we've got mismatched ports on the front and rear plates. So this one's definitely been opened up a bit more than the front one. Oh, sorry, than the rear one. It's a bit bigger, so it's interesting. Kind of annoying. Righty, hey, so how's it going? It's another day. Got the engine pulled apart, no dramas, and I've just sort of laid it out on the bench here. And yeah, just a few sort of things I've noticed pretty quickly about the motor. Originally said it was sort of an FD block, and I guess that's sort of the crux of it, but it's actually a bit of a Bitzer motor, which is not uncommon, you know, when I sort of look at things. Yeah, so the owner of this motor sort of wants to, you know, sort of save it and get a, you know, sort of rebuild it on a bit of a tight sort of budget. So we're going to sort of see what we can do for him. But yeah, let's just have a look at the engine and parts, and just go over a couple of the little things that I've noticed. Some of it's quite interesting, to be honest, and as you know, I love this stuff. So yeah, let's check it out. Alrighty, so here's the motor here. Still got that Jport here. The really damaged rotor went off to be machined about a month and a half ago now, and hasn't come back yet. So you know, it's just been sitting here. To be honest, you know, I might have to put it on Trade Me soon. I think it's going to go on Trade Me soon. If anyone wants a Jport, let me know. So anyway, here's the motor here. So all in bits. Yeah. So what I say by a bit of a Bitzer, I guess, we'll just start with the stationary gears here. Front stationary gear is an FD stationary gear. You can see it's basically got brand new bearings in it. So it's interesting, the engine, they've done some things that are good, you know, like new stuff, and then other stuff has just got like some interesting shortcuts and whatnot. But so FD gear, and I know it's an FD gear, it's got the windowed bearings, and you can see that there's the groove in behind the windows, the groove for the oil flow to support those windows and that bearing. It also has the grub screw, so there's a little grub screw there that you get with the FD gears there. And then the rear stationary gear is not an FD stationary gear. The rear stationary gear is like an FC gear, I think. Could even be an earlier one, but it's got a windowed bearing in it, so it's got the windowed FD bearing there. But I don't know if you can see that, but there's no groove in this particular stationary gear to support those windows, so having a windowed bearing in this gear is kind of pointless. And also there's no grub screw, so there's no grub screw on that. If you look at this gear here, this is an FD gear. Don't know if you can see that, but you can see the groove behind the windows and the bearings, and also the grub screw there, so the little grub screw, bearing retainer screw, whatever you want to call it. So that's one of my FD stat gears. This is a non-FD stat gear, so it's sort of interesting. Coming to the rotors here, fair bit of rust. These are FD rotors, from what I can tell by the shape of the combustion chambers or the bathtubs, and the amount of roll pins here for the gear. They have been machined out to 3mm, so it's got 3mm solid corner seals. The apex seals are interesting, pretty rusty, but they look like they're a power seal, so SCR power seal. Don't know if you can see that. You can kind of just make out the writing, power seal there. But what's interesting is they've double sprung them, so when you use 3mm apex seals, you only use a single spring, but in this case they've double sprung them with a secondary 2mm spring. You can see how much skinnier that is, so that's not necessary for a 3mm spring. You just don't do that. So yeah, but all these are sort of stuck and stuff. Some of these corner seals might be all right, I don't know, but the rest of it's, you know, looks pretty rough. Yeah, these should clean up though. Like I've got some tricks to clean them up, so we'll sort that. I'm pretty sure they'll be okay, and then we'll obviously have to check them and stuff. But yeah, the crank is I think it's an FC crank, it's not a FD crank. The main things I can tell with it being an FC crank and not a FD crank is the front bearing journal is not staggered, so with the FD cranks they're staggered. And also there's no taper on the rear journal, so the FD cranks have like a taper where there's a few more thou machined off them, so they actually step down. The reason for that, I believe, is I've heard of a few reasons for it, but the one that sort of sits with me is that it's to minimize any bearing damage when the crank flexes at high RPM. So I've got a FD crank here, so this is a FD crank. so you can just compare them. Bit of learning. So anyway, I don't know if you can see that, but the bearing journal is staggered, so this half of the journal is a lot shorter than this half, whereas these are even. This is like shorter and this is longer, and the bearing feed, the oil feed, is slightly forward on the FD crank versus the FC crank. And then if you have a look back at the journal, it might be a bit hard to see, but there's a line there just running there, and you kind of almost feel it, like where the rear part of the journal has got more clearance than that part. So this is not present on this crank here. So this crank will need to be checked. It looks like it's got a bit of pitting and stuff, but it's been polished, maybe linished. So we need to check all that, see if it's all right to use. So yeah, the rotor housings. These are the rotor housings here. So these are FD rotor housings from what I can tell. FD rotor housings, and then they got the little grooves for the legs there, which the FC ones don't have. Oh, that's got an interesting mark there, AVR 1111130009. If anyone knows what that mark is, let me know, I'd be very interested. Housing's look in good condition, to be honest, at first glance in terms of the chrome. Ports look good. Can't really see any peel on them. Sort of some cheddar marks and stuff, but I'm pretty sure they'll clean up fine. Obviously have to check them for shrinkage, mic them up for shrinkage. I'm sure there won't be any. There's the other one here. This was the rear one. This one looks alright too. But you can see how these the water seals are pinched so badly all the way around it, especially the outers, but even the inners, you know, have pinched as well. You know, yeah, too much excess silicone, no good. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's much any corrosion or anything. No cracking around the plug holes, which is good. Yeah, these will clean up good, I think. The money makers, the money makers. Then just coming across to the plates. The plates look okay. There's a couple of issues though. This is the center plate. Port's a little bit funky. They've gone very, very thin. It's a bit of a wonky shape, but it's fine, it'll work. But they've gone very, very thin on this, and that's like just bad in my opinion, because I've seen so many of these where the wall just breaks away. It's just not worth going so thin, but it is what it is. The other side's similar. You know, port's sort of similar, a little bit uneven compared to the other side. Might need a bit of matching maybe, but yeah, you can see the pinched seals there. But the surfaces look alright. I mean, there's virtually no wear, you know, virtually no wear, so that's a good thing, I guess. And an FD plate as well. So yeah, I can't, you know, the galleries look good, can't see any sort of major corrosion, but we'll know more when we clean it all up. Okay, so here's the rear plate. So the rear plate actually has a nice little port, which I think is a CNC port by the looks of it, angle cut, no finishing on it. All the runners are still the rough cast, so, and then no sort of a blending or anything like that on the ports. It's just literally just had a bridge port put on it, and there's still quite a bit of meat there, which is good, you know, so that's quite good. So the only issue with this plate, the surfaces are good, is this bit here. This bit here doesn't look too flash. I don't know if you can see that. It says there's some corrosion. It's interesting because there's corrosion and chipping here, but the rest of it looks really good. So that's kind of unfortunate. What we can do though is, you know, even a little bit of silicone there would probably be fine. But what we'd probably do is just fill it with DevCon or even a JB weld. Just fill this gallery and just seal off any water with some RTV. So DevCon, RTV, and keep water just well away from this area, full stop, and do the opposite part on the housing as well, so it just forms like a seal. So that'll just give it a bit of insurance, I think. So the front plate here, again, front plate's in good condition. There's no corrosion up here, it's very good. You know, all the galleries look good. Surface is right, there's a little bit of step wear there, but it's barely anything, you know, I wouldn't even bother measuring it. So this port's had the same deal as the other one, but it looks like it's been opened up a bit more, so it's actually a bit fatter, and the wall's a little bit thinner, but not too thin. It's okay. So ideally this this port here will kind of need to be matched to this one here ideally. So yeah, been put together like this, but this one just needs a bit of porting out that way and maybe a little bit taken off the bridge, just to try and match it up. You know, ideally that's sort of what needs to happen. I don't know if you can see that, yeah, but yeah, that's about it for the main sort of block, I guess. Yeah, what else is there? A couple of other little things that were quite interesting as well though, over here. So the oil pump is brand spanking new. It's a brand new pump, like there's no wear on it at all whatsoever on the gears. That's really good. So the oil pump was brand new, but the oil chain was really old. It's really loose and really sloppy, and that will probably need to be replaced. There was a lot of gunk in the pickup. I sort of wiped some of it off, which was pretty crappy. Interesting, the front counterweight is not a FD counterweight. Okay, it's an older type counterweight with the smaller front stack and smaller bearings. Okay, the other thing too, I can't really see much balancing happening with this, and it's the same with the rear counterweight as well. I can't see much balancing work. If you go back to the rotors over here, you can see there's been some balancing work done on the rotors, especially on this one. You know, those holes, there's weight removed here. It looks like it's had some work up here. The other one here, the other one hasn't had any balancing work by the looks of it. So, you know, just with that, and with the fact that the front counterweight's not an FD weight and the rear weight's probably not, I don't know what the rear weight is, I'd recommend sending it away to be balanced and just at least have it checked for sure. So the front stack was buggered. The inflate space is basically welded almost, well not welded, but jammed into this towing membrane. This towing membrane's been completely crushed, and yeah, and the towing bearing is damaged as well. So yeah, it's going to need some new front stack bits as well. So yeah, I guess that's about it really. So interesting sort of bits of motor. These things are often akin to surprise. You just never know what you're going to get when you open them up. But we'll get on and we'll just clean all this up as best as we can, try and get the rust off the rotors and stuff, and then yeah, just then have a closer look at everything from there. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the little video. Take it easy and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers. Oh, I feel like everything's a blooming mess at the moment. It's bloody nuts.